Okay, last section in chapter 1, percentages, pages 24 through 27, and the last three exercises, 1N, 1O, and 1P. This is not difficult stuff, guys. It's just like pizza chemistry, and everybody knows pizza chemistry, right? If you had a 4-slice pizza with one of them pepperoni, and I asked you what's the percentage of pepperoni, you'd say 1 slice of pepperoni for every 4 total slices times 100% gives me 25% pepperoni, right? Well, if you can do pizza chemistry, you can do chemistry when it comes to percentage problems. It's no big deal. Just keep that in mind. All right. This is the formula you're going to use for percentage problems. The part divided by the whole times 100% is equal to the percentage of the part you're looking at. Think about it. If we were asking about the number of plane and its percentage, what would you say? 3 slices of plane divided by 4 total slices times 100% gives you the percentage of the plane, which would be 75%. Alright, so let's do a couple of problems. The first one, but before, let's think about our procedure, and this basically works for all word type problems. This is the first time you're going to have a word problem where you're going to have to read to figure out what to do. And it's not too bad, really, if you just slow down and think your way through. This is our procedure. You read the problem carefully to figure out what kind of problem it is. It'll be obvious for this chapter that you're going to be doing a percentage problem and that this is the formula that fits. Then I want you to do the algebra next to solve for the unknown variable that you need to solve for. Do the algebra first, and then plug in your values with their units. Calculate the raw value as a result of those plugged in values, and then report the answer to the proper number of Sig Figs and units, and then finish up with a sanity check so you don't make some silly, crazy mistake. Alright, so here's a very typical kind of problem. What is the percentage of water in a solution made by mixing 18.6 grams of sugar and 97 grams of water? And then we'll also ask the percentage of sugar as well. So let's do water first. Well, since they are asking what is the percentage, clearly we're going to use the part over whole times 100% is equal to the percentage. Get it? Percentage. So let's identify what we're trying to solve for, and what we're trying to solve for is the percentage of the water. So if we want the water, the part has to be of the water, which is here. So that's the part. 100% is always 100%. So what's next? Well, we have to figure out the whole. Well, what is the whole here? Whole is the sugar plus the water. Just like the whole up here was the pepperoni plus the plane. Added together gives you the total. The whole, or the total, is the sugar plus the water. And remember, when we're doing significant figures, every time you have an addition and subtraction, you'd better follow the rules. So we're going to take 18.6 plus 97, add those together to get the whole. Fine. Okay, now that's equal to W, the whole, right? But how many Sig Figs is in this result? Well, we're drawing the line here, aren't we? Since this is the 10th place, this is the ones place, the answer is to the ones place. So this is 3 Sig Figs. And it's really important to remember that. It's also just as important that you want to use the whole value. Don't round early. But remember, that it's still 3 sig figs in the result. Okay, so since the algebra is already set up so that we're solving for the percentage, let's now plug in our values and the units. So the part is the water, which is 97 grams. The whole is 115.6 grams. We're going to multiply by 100%. And let's see what we got. Well, let's give a raw value by punching that stuff in our calculator. And when we do, 97 divided by 115.6 times 100 is equal to, let's see, calculator, raw is 83.9100346. So, what are my units? And how many sig figs are in my answer? Well, we have to figure out the sig figs in the problem, because it's the calculation that you use that determines the number of sig figs in the answer. Not the number of sig figs in the problem, but the calculation you use. Okay? So, 97 grams clearly has 2 sig figs. How many sig figs is in this number? Please don't say 4, because we already realized that this is 3. We're using the whole value so we don't round early. But remember that this is 3 sig figs here. And how many is 100%? Well, we talked about this in class. It's an exact number, so it's got an infinite number of sig figs. 100% is a definition, and so it will never limit the number of significant figures in your answer. So 2, 3, and infinite, the answer has to have 2 sig figs. So we would say these two are significant. That would round up. So we're going to say 84. But that's not right, because we need a unit on this answer. The grams over grams is just like 6 over 6, or A over A cancels out to 1. And the only unit left is percentage. And 84% is correct for water. Does it make sense? Well, sure it does. It's got to be less than 100%. And since there's only 18.6 grams of sugar and 97 grams of water, when you mix them together, it's way more water than the sugar. So that feels like it's at least a possible answer, right? There's no way that 197,000% could be right. And if we've got 97 grams of water mixed with 18.6 grams of sugar, how could the percentage be less than 50? So this at least has a feel for being the right answer. Okay, so what about percentage of sugar? Put a little B here. Alright, well, it's part over whole times 100% is equal to the percentage again. But this time, the part is going to be 18.6 grams. The whole, well, that's 115.6 again. Again with 3 sig figs. 18.6 is 3. 100% is infinite. So that means 3 sig figs in my answer. Percent is the results again because the units have to work out. And if we do a quick calculation here, 18.6 divided by 115.6 times 100 gives me 16.1% after the rounding. Notice that the number of sig figs are different. That can happen. And that whenever you add them up, they're right around 100%. That's another sanity check. Okay? So you have to be ready for this because it's coming. But I got one more kind of problem that's related. And it's especially important in West Virginia, which certainly has a long history of coal production. The quality of coal is related to its sulfur content. Too much sulfur, and a vein of coal will not be financially viable to mine because it makes acid mine drainage, for one thing, and for another, it will make acid rain for another. So if you drill a core sample and you have too much sulfur, they won't even bother to mine the coal. So, how much sulfur in pounds is contained in a 1.49 times 10 to the 5th pound sample of coal? It's determined to be 1.2% sulfur. Clearly another percentage problem, right? Alright, so P over W times 100% is equal to the percentage. Alright, write this down, hit pause, give it your best shot, see if you can come up with the right answer, the right units, and the right Sig Figs. Ready, set, pause. Okay, you're back. How did you do? What did you get? Let's see if it matches up. Hopefully you did all your work out in every step as well. This time, clearly that percentage is the percentage of sulfur. They want to know how much sulfur. So that's what we're solving for. What's the whole? Do we have to do a calculation to figure out what the whole is? No. Not when it comes to coal, because coal is carbon and squished trees and all kinds of stuff, including sulfur. So this is the whole. Okay, so if we want to solve for P, and we know W, 100%, and percentage, how do we solve for P? Well, what's the first step in solving for P? Well, you have to get P by itself. The quickest algebra is multiply by W and divide by 100% on both sides. You with me? Because 100% on the numerator, 100% on the denominator cancel. W in the numerator, W in the denominator cancel. And P is equal to the percentage times the whole divided by 100%. Now let's plug in our values. 1.2% times 1.49 times 10 to the 5th pounds divided by 100%. Do my units work out? Yeah, they do, because percentages cancels out and pounds is what we're left with. This is how many Sig Figs? It's infinite. This is how many? 3. This is how many? 2. So the answer will have 2. Punch it into your calculator. 1.2 times 1.49 times 10 to the 5th divided by 100, and you get 1.788 times 10 to the 3rd pounds. That's what my calculator says, and my answer to 2 Sig Figs is 1.8 times 10 to the 3rd pounds. So we checked Sig Figs, and we checked units, and now let's see if it makes sense. Well, what's bigger? Of course, what's bigger is the whole than the part. So, at least that has a chance of being right. Hopefully, you're satisfied and happy, and that's the answer that you got. Okay, you should be ready for quiz 1.